The rumble under the ice did not stop. It rolled through the tunnel like thunder trapped in metal, shaking frost loose from the ceiling. Dust drifted down in slow, glittering pieces. Headlamps trembled as people tried to hold still. Carter pressed his palm against the tunnel wall and felt its warmth, faint but real. Rising from below like a heartbeat, Juno whispered, "That wasn't a cave." "No," Carter said. Lyra's eyes were wide now, glowing brighter in the dark. Her wings tightened around Nick's, pulling him close, as if she could hide him from the sound itself. Draven's voice came out rough, almost begging. "Do not wake, old one." Darter's throat went dry. "What is it?" Davin did not answer. "Right away," he swallowed, like even speaking the truth was dangerous. "Guardian," he finally said. "Vault has. Guardian." Another rumble, then above them. The tunnel ceiling trembled with a different sound. Dash boots. Close, slow hunting. Carter held up one hand, signaling everyone to stop breathing loud. People clutched oxygen packs and portable heaters, eyes fixed on the dark. A thin beam of white light slipped through a vent grill above, sweeping across the floor like a knife. A hunter's scanner. Carter's heart hammered. They were right overhead. Juno leaned close to Carter's ear. "My jammer is slipping." "They're triangulating." Carter stared at the glowing alien strip on the wall. It was still lit, steady and calm, as if it did not care about hunters. The hunters above paused. Carter heard the faint click of a device being adjusted, then the cold voice spoke, this time not through the outpost speakers, but through the metal itself, amplified by their equipment. "We know you are moving," the voice said. "We can smell fear in your heat." People flinched. Vance whispered, "How can they hear us?" "They can't," Carter whispered back. "They're trying to make us panic." A scrape sounded overhead, a panel being removed. Carter's mind raced. If the hunters dropped into the tunnel, it would be a slaughter. Tight space. No room to run. Humans cornered, dragons trapped. He leaned toward Lyra. "Can you fight?" Lyra's eyes flashed. Her voice came out strained. "I can, but they have chain device." Draven nodded weakly. "They control." "They hurt." Carter looked at Juno. "Any weapons down here?" Juno shook her head. "Only tools." Carter looked at the miners. Welding cutters, shock sticks, mining drones if they could get them online. He looked at the tunnel map again and made a choice. "We're not staying here," he whispered. "We go to the old excavation chamber." Tunnel 12 splits into a wider room. Vance's face tightened. "That chamber is unstable." "Good," Carter said. "Unstable means we can shape it." They moved, slow, silent, careful. Carter led Lamplow, scanning ahead. Behind him, the group crawled and crouched, dragging supplies. Nix kept looking back toward the glowing strip like he felt a pull. Lyra kept him close, but Carter noticed her hands shaking. After a few minutes, they reached a wider area where the tunnel opened into an old mining chamber. The ceiling rose higher. Metal supports lined the walls. Old drill marks scarred the ice. It was not safe, but it gave them space to breathe and space to fight. Carter signaled everyone to spread out behind supports, pointed at two miners. "Set the portable heaters against that wall," he whispered. "Make a fake heat cluster." Juno understood fast. She nodded and started placing small batteries and decoy tags. "Make them think we're over there," Carter said. "If they drop in, they drop into the wrong spot." Draven collapsed onto the floor, breathing shallow. Frost steamed off his scales. Carter knelt near him, pushed the heater close. Draven's eyes stayed on Carter, sharp even through weakness. "Human," he rasped. "If hunters take Vault, whole worlds burn." Carter nodded once. "Then we don't let them take." A harsh sound hit the tunnel entrance behind them, metal tearing. The hunters were forcing their way in. A bright white light flooded the chamber's mouth. Three shapes stepped into view, tall, armored, with smooth helmets and long rifles that didn't look human. Their movements were calm, controlled. It's like they were walking into a room they already owned. The lead hunter spoke, voice cold and clean. "Mining Foreman," it said. "Your name is Carter Hale. You have unauthorized life forms. Return the assets." Carter stepped out from behind a support, hands visible. He forced his voice steady. "These are refugees," Carter said. "Injured. They asked for shelter." The hunter tilted its head slightly. "Shelter's not your authority. That family belongs to the Empire under salvage's law." "Salvage law doesn't cover living beings," Carter said. The hunter's helmet turned toward Lyra's shadow in the back. "That female is a war-grade specimen. Her child is rare. The male is failing. Return them." Lyra growled low. Echoed through the chamber like a warning drum. The hunter raised one hand. A small device sat in its palm, black, smooth, with a blue indicator. Draven's body tensed. Lyra's eyes widened in fear. Carter's stomach dropped. "That's the chain device," he realized. "Correct," the hunter said. "One signal. One command. Dragons obey." The device lit brighter. Lyra's muscles locked. She stumbled, then dropped to one knee, like the floor had become heavy. A sharp, pained sound escaped her throat. Nyx cried out, pressing against her side. Carter stepped forward without thinking. "Stop." The hunter's voice stayed calm. "Open the path to the vault, or your workers die first." Another hunter aimed its rifle at a miner. Vance froze. Hands raised. Carter's mind snapped into focus. The decoy heaters, the supports, the unstable ceiling. He made his choice. He looked at Juno and gave one small signal, 2 taps on his comm. Now, Juno triggered the decoy cluster. Heat bloomed on the hunter's sensors, big, bright, wrong. The hunter's helmets turned toward it at the same time. Carter grabbed a shock stick from a miner, threw it hard at a ceiling support near the tunnel entrance. The stick hit and sparked. The old support, already weak, screamed under sudden power. Ice cracked above the hunters. For one perfect second. The lead hunter's device flickered as it recalculated. Lyra lifted her head, eyes burning. "Through pain," Carter shouted, voice loud, fierce, "human, humans don't kneel." He yelled. Then the ceiling began to fall. Asterisk. The ceiling did not fall like snow, it fell like a building. A slab of ice and metal support crashed down at the chamber entrance, exploding into shards. White dust burst into the air, thick and blinding. The impact punched a shockwave through the tunnel floor and knocked people off their feet. Carter hit the ground hard, shoulders slamming against cold metal. His headlamp flickered. For a moment, all he could hear was ringing in his ears and the roar of settling debris. Then a scream. Not human. Lyra. Carter forced himself up, vision swimming. Saw the hunters through the dust, 2 of them half buried, trying to pull free. The lead hunter had jumped back just in time, but its control device still glowed in its hand. Lyra's body shook like she was fighting invisible chains. Her eyes had lost their focus. The blue glow in them looked empty now, like a light in a room with no one inside. Nyx clung to her leg, crying, small voice breaking on each sound. "No, no." Carter's chest tightened. "Juno," he shouted. "Where's that jammer?" Juno coughed through the dust. "I'm here." "It's not enough. He's boosting the signal." The lead hunter stepped forward, calm, unstoppable. Its voice cut through the chaos. "Good," it said. "You have shown resistance. Now you will show obedience." 8. The device flared brighter. Lyra jerked upright, wings twitching, claws scraping. The ice. She turned slowly toward Carter's workers. Her head lowered like she was about to strike. Carter felt every human freeze. Miners backed away, eyes wide, hands empty. Nobody wanted to hurt her. Nobody wanted to die. Draven tried to rise, but he collapsed again, breath tearing from his chest. His voice came out broken. "Lyra, fight." Lyra did not hear him. Carter's mind raced. Tools, debris, dust, the hunters. Rifles. But the biggest danger was Lyra herself, controlled, forced, turned into a weapon. Carter stepped forward. Vance grabbed his arm. Foreman, don't. Carter pulled free. If she hits anyone, the hunters win, he said. If we hurt her, the hunters win. There's only one move left. He walked straight toward Lyra. Her head snapped toward him, her jaws opened slightly, breath steaming. The empty glow in her eyes made Carter's stomach twist. He stopped just a few steps away and lifted both hands. Palms open, Lyra, he said softly. The lead hunter's voice sharpened. Move away from the asset. Carter ignored it. He kept it. His eyes on Lyra, not on the guns, not on the helmets, not on the control device. Lyra, he repeated, steady and calm. You asked for shelter. You protected your child. You were not their tool. Lyra's body trembled. Her claws dug into the ice. A low sound rumbled in her throat. Half rage. Carter took one more step. Carter, Juno hissed. Teal. Make her kill you. Carter swallowed. His heart hammered so hard it hurt. He spoke anyway. Voice low enough that it felt like a promise instead of a command. You're safe here, he said. You're not alone. Lyra's jaw shook. Twitched. Her eyes flickered just for a blink like a person behind. Glass trying to press a hand against it. Then the device. Flared again. Lyra's head jerked violently. She lunged. Carter did not run. He braced, ready for impact, ready to be crushed. But Lyra did not bite. She slammed her claws into the ice just inches from his boots, stopping herself with a harsh, ripping scrape. Her whole body shook like she was tearing herself apart to avoid hurting him. A sound escaped her and broken. Run, she forced out, voice shaking. Before I hurt you. Carter's throat tightened. He stepped closer instead. No, he said simply, not leaving. Behind him, Nyx made a small, desperate cry. He broke free from Lyra's leg and ran toward Carter. Lyra tried to grab him, but her body jerked under the control signal. Nyx reached Carter and clutched his arm with both tiny claws, pressing his forehead against Carter's sleeve, like it was the only safe place left. He looked up, eyes wet, and pushed words out with all his strength. Home, Nyx cried. Carter, home. The chamber went still. Even the hunters paused, like the word had hit something deeper than sound. Carter felt heat in his chest, sharp, almost electric. His wrist scanner still strapped under his suit. Beeped once. A new reading flashed. Bio-energy sync. Unknown compatible signal.itscit. Carter didn't understand it, but Lyra did. Her eyes widened. The empty glow cracked. For a heartbeat or focus. Returned real? Alive? Furious? The lead hunter snapped, voice suddenly tense. Impossible. Lyra's wings flared outward, knocking dust into the air. She roared not at Carter, not at the miners, but at the device in the hunter's hand. Juno shouted now. Hit it. Vance reacted first, grabbed a welding cutter and hurled it like a hammer. No, the cutter spun through the dust and struck the lead. Hunter's wrist stawed, sparks exploded. The control device flew from the hunter's hand and skidded across. The ice, still glowing, Carter dove, sliding on his stomach, slammed his boot down on it. The device cracked. The blue light stuttered. Lyra let out a deep, shaking breath like she'd been drowning and finally reached air. She collapsed to her knees, head lowered, but her eyes stayed on. Carter clear now. Real. The lead hunter raised its rifle, anger in its voice. Kill the human. Juno fired a shock stick at the hunter's chest. It staggered back. Miners surged forward, not with bravery from training, but with bravery from love of their own people. They drove the hunters back into the debris choked tunnel. Carter looked up, panting, and saw Lyra pull Nyx's clothes again, this time not in fear, but in choice. Then Juno's tablet beeped, her face drained of color. Carter, she whispered. What? They just sent a distress ping. What? Carter's stomach dropped. To who? Juno swallowed hard. To a fleet. Above them, the outpost speakers crackled one more time. A new voice came through, deeper, wider, not calm like before. "This is retrieval command," it said. "Do not resist. Surrender the dragons, or we will cleanse this moon." Carter stared into the red-lit dust, heart pounding. They had won. A fight, but they had just started a war. Asterisk. The message did not feel like a threat. It felt like a countdown. Carter stood in the cracked mining chamber, dust still hanging in the air, and listened as the deep voice repeated through the outpost speakers. "Surrender the dragons, or we will cleanse this moon." Juno's tablet shook in her hands. "Orbital traffic just spiked," she said. "Multiple jump signatures. They're coming fast." Vance stared toward the tunnel entrance, where broken ice and twisted metal still blocked half the way. "How many?" Juno swallowed. "Enough." Carter forced his breathing to slow. "Panic would kill them faster than hunters." "We move," he said. "Deeper. Toward the vault strip." Lyra lifted her head. Her eyes were clear now, but fear still lived in them. She pulled Nyx close. Draven struggled to rise, body trembling. Carter knelt beside Draven, pushing the heater unit tight against his chest. "Can you walk?" Draven's breath came out rough. "Short time," Carter nodded. "Then we make that time count." They moved through the tunnels like shadows. Workers carried oxygen packs, heat batteries, and tools. Juno carried her jammer and a small case of power cells. Vance had a cutter. Others had shock sticks and mining charges. When they reached the glowing alien strip again, the light pulsed softly, calm and steady, like it had been waiting for them to return. Nyx stared at it with wide eyes. He did not look afraid this time. He looked drawn. Lyra caught Carter's arm with her claw-gentile. "Careful. Do not," she warned. "Vault wakes. It changes everything." Carter met her gaze. "Everything is already changed," he said. Above them the outpost shook. Distant boom rolled through the ice like thunder inside the ground. Juno's voice tightened. "They're testing bombardment points. Warning shots." Carter opened the tunnel map. "There's a shaft here," he said, pointing. "It leads to the old access dome, the one your family came from. The vault line runs under it." Draven's eyes narrowed. "Vault core near." Carter nodded. "Good. We want them near. If there's any defense left on this moon, it's down there." They reached the shaft entrance, a vertical drop with ladders bolted into ice. Cold air poured up from below, but it carried that same faint warmth now, like a sleeping furnace. Carter looked at his crew. "This is the last safe move," he said. "After this, we either win or we don't come back." Nobody spoke. But nobody left. That was the part that hit Carter hardest. These were not soldiers. They were tired workers who missed their families, who complained about pay and cold food. But they stayed because someone had begged for shelter, because the hunters had chosen the wrong outpost. They climbed down. The shaft opened into a wide underground space, older than the outpost itself. Smooth black metal ran along the walls, half covered by ice. Strange symbols glowed faintly in places, an ancient, clean, not human, in the center. Half buried in frost was a circular door. It was huge. It looked like a vault. Juno's mouth went dry. "This is not company tech." Draven's voice lowered. "Old makers," he whispered. "Before Empire." Lyra's wings tightened. "Guardian sleeps," she said. "Vault keeps it sleeping." Another boom shook the chamber. Ice dust fell like ash dot. The speakers above crackled again, now louder, closer. "The fleet was in orbit. This is retrieval command," the deep voice said. "Final chance. Open your gates. Deliver the assets." Carter's wrist scanner beeped weak signal, but real. Juno checked her tablet. "They're locking onto ground targets." "Carter, they can burn us from orbit." Carter stared at the circular vault door. He thought of the workers behind him, of Lyra shaking under control, of Nyx saying home like it meant everything. He stepped forward. Lyra moved to block him. "The vault opens," she warned it. may kill. Carter's voice stayed calm. Then it can kill the right people. He looked down at Nyx. Do you understand this? He asked softly. Nyx blinked, then nodded like a child pretending he was brave. He reached out and placed his small claw on the symbol at the center of the vault door. The symbol lit up. Bright blue, the whole chamber vibrated. A low hum spread through the floor and into the ice above. The hum grew into a pulse, stronger than before, like the moon itself was waking. Lyra stepped back, breathing hard. Draven's eyes widened. Juno whispered, Carter, it's responding to him. The vault door did not open yet. Instead, a field of light rose from the floor around them, thin at first, then thicker, forming a wide dome that spread across the underground chamber and up through the ice like a growing bubble. Carter felt the air change. Warmer, stable. Juno's tablet beeped. Wildly. Energy spike. Massive. It's making a shield. Above them, the speaker stuttered as if the signal was being interfered with. Then a new sound hit the chamber. A deep, old voice. Smooth. Not human. Not dragon. Not like anything Carter had. Heard it came from the vault itself. Identify, the voice said. The words were perfect, cold, ancient. Identify. Guardian candidate. Carter's skin prickled. The voice continued, slower now, like it was reading the shape of his choices. Protocol. Pack protection. Lyra's eyes widened. It knows. Carter swallowed hard. It knows what? The vault voice answered before anyone else could, selecting human. The dome of light above them flared brighter, pushing outward. Juno looked up in shock. Carter. Orbital lock is failing. Their targeting is slipping. The deep voice from orbit returned, now edged with anger. What have you done? Demanded. Carter stepped closer to the vault door, heart pounding. He didn't know what came next, but he knew one thing. For the first time since the storm began, the hunters sounded afraid, and that meant the outpost finally had something they did not a chance. The vault did not open like a door. It opened like a decision. Blue light poured from the circular seams, clean and bright, cutting through frost and shadow. The shield dome above them hummed louder, steady as a heartbeat. Carter felt the air warm. Against his face shield, as if the moon itself had stopped trying to kill them. The ancient voice spoke again, deeper now, closer, like it was inside the walls. Assessment complete, it said. Human, Carter Hale. Carter's mouth went dry. It knows my name. Juno stared at her tablet. It just pulled your ID from outpost systems. But the way it said it, Carter, that wasn't a simple scan. Lyra's wings lifted slightly, tense. Draven's eyes stayed fixed on the vault, like he was looking at a god he didn't want to wake. The voice continued. Pack protection confirmed. Sacrifice risk accepted. Chain resistance detected. Carter remembered the moment he stepped in front of Lyra, unarmed. The moment Nyx grabbed his arm and cried, home. The moment the chain device cracked under his boot. The vault had been watching, or waiting. Nyx stood close to Carter now, staring. Up at the glowing door with wide eyes. He did not look scared. He looked like he finally recognized something. The ancient voice shifted its tone, still calm, but heavier. Dragon Core status, sealed. Access denied to Empire. A tremor ran through the ground. Not violent, controlled. Like a giant machine shifting its weight. Juno's tablet beeped again, shield strength increasing. It's pushing into the upper layers, Carter. It's covering the outpost, too. Far. Above, the outpost speakers crackled. The deep orbital voice returned, strained with anger. Retrieval command to all units. Target lock is failing. Adjust. Adjust. Another voice overlapped. It sharper. Panicked. Command. The dome is interfering. With our guidance, can't the message cut off in static? Carter exhaled slowly. The hunters could not glass the moon if they could not hit it. Lyra stepped closer to the vault, her claws clicking softly on the frozen floor. Guardian wakes, she whispered. voice tight. Carter, asked Draven answered, voice rough. Who holds core? Carter stared at the glowing seams. I don't want to hold anything, he said quietly. I just wanted to give shelter. The vault voice replied as if it understood him. Shelter. IS protection. Protection is command. The seams widened. A vertical line of light split the vault door. Warm air rushed out, carrying the smell of old metal and clean ozone. Inside was not a treasure room. Not a prison cell. It looked like a control chamber built for something bigger than humans. A platform sat in the center, smooth, black, and covered in the same symbols as a strip in the tunnel. Above it floated a small crystal-like object, turning slowly in the air, glowing a pale blue dot. Juno whispered, That's the core. Lyra's body tightened. Do not touch, she warned. Carter stepped forward anyway, careful, slow. He did not reach for the core. He walked toward the platform beneath it. The ancient voice spoke, simple and final. Guardian link required. Carter looked back at his people, at Juno's pale face, at Vance gripping a cutter like it was all he had, at Lyra shielding Nyx, at Draven struggling to breathe. Then he looked down at Nyx. The child held Carter's sleeve again, small claws, gentle. Home, Nyx whispered. Softer this time. Carter swallowed hard. He stepped onto the platform. The symbols lit up under his boots. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then a thin line of blue light rose from the platform and wrapped around Carter's wrist. It's warm and weightless, like a bracelet made of air. His wrist scanner beeped and died. The screen went blank, then replaced itself with a new message, in a language he didn't know, then translated into trade-english. Guardian link. Active primary directive. Protect pack secondary directive. Break CHENS. Carter's breath caught. Break chains. Lyra's eyes widened, and for the first time, Carter saw hope rise in her like sunrise. Above them, the outpost speakers crackled again. The retrieval command voice came through, furious now. Human Foreman, you have activated forbidden tech. Power down the shield. Hand over the assets. This is your final warning. Carter looked up toward the ceiling, toward the ice, toward the ships in orbit that thought they owned this moon. He spoke clearly. No, he said. Juno blinked at him. Carter he raised one hand slightly. The platform responded. A pulse spread outward through the shield dome. It's not like a weapon, but like a signal. Juno's tablet flashed with new data streams she had never seen before. It's broadcasting. It's pushing a transmission into orbit. Carter felt information moving through him, not as words, but as certainty. The vault had records. Proof. Names. Routes. How the hunters captured dragons. Controlled them. Sold them. Used them. Erased them. The ancient voice spoke one more time. Evidence package. Released. In orbit, the retrieval command voice stuttered. What? What? Is this stop that transmission? New voice cut in different ships, different flags, different systems. Retrieval command. We are receiving classified data. Are you trafficking sentient war beasts? Another voice, colder and legal. Hold position. An investigation fleet is inbound. Any further aggression will be treated as a war crime. Silence followed thick, shocked silence. Carter felt the hunter's power slip, not because he shot them. Not because he outgunned them, because he exposed them. The shield hummed steady, breakable for now. Draven let out a long breath and his scales stopped steaming. The frost on his chest eased slightly, like the vault's warmth was stabilizing. He looked at Carter with disbelief. You did not take core, Draven rasped. Core took you. Carter stepped off the platform, legs shaky. The light bracelet stayed on his wrist like a promise. Lyra lowered her head toward Carter slow, respectful, not as a servant, but as family. You gave shelter, she said. So you became pack leader. Carter looked down at Nyx. Nyx blinked, up at him, then pushed out a full sentence in simple, careful English. Carter is pack. Carter's throat tightened. He turned his face slightly so nobody would see his eyes water inside the shield. Above, the storm still screamed outside, but inside the shield. The outpost was warm, safe for the first time. Carter believed they might live. Juno's tablet beeped again, one last alert. Not from the hunters, from deep space. A faint signal, reaching the vault's pulse pattern. Her face went pale. Carter, there are more. More what? Vance asked. Juno swallowed hard. More vaults, waking up, and they're calling this one. Carter looked back at the open vault chamber, at the glowing core, at the ancient symbols lit under. The ice he had only wanted to save one family. He never expected what happened next.